Welcome to the Tournament Poker Edge podcast, brought to you by TournamentPokerEdge.com, the only podcast dedicated exclusively to poker tournament strategy. Now here's your host, Clayton Fletcher.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Tournament Poker Edge podcast, sponsored by ACR Poker, where we are right smack in the middle of the biggest ever online super series, the OSS XL, with $50 million in guaranteed prize pools, most of which we're shattering every single day. My name is Clayton Fletcher, and I'm in somewhere in New Jersey. I've moved to New Jersey so that I can play some stuff that you have to be in New Jersey to play. And I have a special guest. He's a repeat guest, one of our most popular guests that we've ever had here on the program. He is an ACR Poker pro and a really great guy as well that I had the pleasure of meeting almost a year ago at the WPT Championships out in fabulous Las Vegas. Please welcome back to the podcast, Michael Loncar. Michael, how have you been?
I've been great, man. It's so awesome to be back on the podcast here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so I'm sure you must be playing tons and tons of poker on ACR lately with the big series we have going on.
Absolutely, I've been playing just about every single day, all day. OSS XL series. I'm actually looking at the leaderboards right now on the ACR Poker website. There's, on top of the $50 million in guarantees for the month for the series, they are giving out, ACR is giving out $60,000 out of their own pocket for the leaderboards. And you can look at there's an overall leaderboard that's paying first place $15,000, and there's a high stakes, medium stakes, and low stakes leaderboards. They're also paying out a few $1,000s among the top, result getters, top pitchers. And it's awesome. It's, man, so many good. It's literally like a Sunday every day right now on ACR for the entire month with this series running.
Michael, do you see your own username on any of those leaderboards right now?
Yeah, so on the medium stakes, which is the medium stakes is $10.50 to $88 buy-in. I'm number 12 overall out of everybody.
Wow.
And on the high stakes, not doing so great, but trying to get some more scores on there. And then the overall, let's see, where am I at on the overall leaderboard? Let's take a look. Number 39, so got some work to do on there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a grind. It's been great. I had this past Sunday, I don't know about you, Clayton, but I believe in magic. It's a funny thing to say. There's no other way to say it. I believe in things that probably a lot of, or at least I know some top poker pros are kind of scoff at and laugh at, but I do believe in manifestation, universal power, and magic. And I, through the first 2 weeks of this challenge, had the worst run bad of probably the entire year. Was very frustrated, and I took 2 days off from this challenge last week on Friday and Saturday. And it was perfect timing because my son Josiah had a soccer tournament in South Lake Tahoe a couple hours away, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a couple days off, spend time with the family, and just get mentally ready to make a big score happen on Sunday, not only for the challenge but for my bankroll, And
yeah.
I don't ever put anything out there like this, but I put an Instagram story post out on Saturday night. I said I said word for word, I'm gonna get a big score tomorrow on Sunday. I'm gonna make it happen. And I just kind of put all my energy into it, and just kind of manifested it and put it out there and kept telling people, I am playing so good, I am going to have a big score. Boom. This past Sunday, took third place in the ACR Sunday special, $215 buy-in, $200K, took third place for $25,000, and it's always extra special when you feel like, your energy and your powers or whatever you want to call it had something to do with it, not just playing good poker, so it's a pretty awesome feeling.
Yeah, and we follow you, of course, on Instagram at Michael_Loncar. Now, we had Anton Wig. He's one of my closest friends in poker and in life. We had him on the podcast not long ago, and Anton was talking a lot about that, what you're calling magic or manifestation. It's just, kind of bringing the energy into a project or into the world that you are trying to get back. So now you could say it's confirmation bias. The day that you made that Instagram post is the day that you got third place in a tournament, yada, yada. Has there ever been a time when you put something like that into the universe and maybe didn't get the result you wanted? But
of course.
Yeah, but I still think there is something to it, and just life is better if you approach things with that that positivity, that optimism. And tournament poker is one of the toughest endeavors I think a person can engage in. It can be extremely frustrating, as anyone who's listening to this probably already knows. But yeah, just finding ways to stay positive and keep yourself from getting into the doldrums and turning into like Mike Matusow or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many different elements to this. Like, obviously, believing in something and putting that energy into it definitely helps make it happen, I believe. But man, I really do believe that we as humans have abilities that people might say, oh, that's not a real thing, or this and that. But I really do believe that manifestation and the power of belief has its ways of making things happen. And I personally have always thrived under pressure. When my back's against the wall, I feel like I've always, made it happen, whatever it was, whether it was getting I remember my senior year of high school, we had the entire school year. We had one class for this senior project. And I didn't start working on it until 3 days before the project was due. Literally, didn't start one word on the project, and I made it happen. That's maybe not the best example, but I mean, I do believe, if you really put your mind to it and really want something, and really, man, it's crazy. I mean, and then even on a microscopic scale, I'm sure Ape Styles will love this. One of the team pros, in my opinion, the best poker player out of our group. I was playing in a tournament with him the other night on ACR, and it was midnight. I've been playing all day, and there was a hand where it folded to me in the hijack with King Jack of Spades for 17 bigs. Now I know, all the charts say that this is a min raise. There's nothing else to do here. It's not a call. It's not a fold. It's not an all in. It's a min raise. That's the only play. That's what I do when I have this hand in this situation every single time. Every single time. It's a no-brainer. I know what to do. Min raise to 2. But for whatever reason, you can believe in this or not, but I mean, it just happens over and over. And the percentage of the time that this happens, it's not like, oh, this happens some of the time. It's like all the time. I have this like weird gut feeling that came in my stomach, and I had this like voice in my head. I know it's me, but I swear it wasn't. It was like, shove, move all in right here. That's the right play right here. Even though you're supposed to min raise right here, right now, you're supposed to shove. And I've always trusted this kind of weird gut feeling that doesn't come along very often, hardly ever. And I mean, hardly ever. Not. This isn't a once every month type of thing. It's a once every year, once every 6 months type of feeling that I have. And I was like, wow, like I trust this. I trust this weird intuition, magic, or whatever you want to call it. And I moved all in because I had this overwhelming feeling that I've learned to trust. I moved all in with my King Jack suited. Ape Styles had pocket queens in the small blind, and he moved all in, and the flop came king, and I doubled up. And I wasn't even really surprised, because I've had this occurrence happen from time to time, and it just, on the times I didn't trust it, because the logic in my head out-reasoned the magical thoughts or magical feelings or intuition, whatever you're going to call it. And I'm like, wow, I need to really just start trusting this, because I do believe there's something greater out there that we can tap into, such as this, at times that we're not really fully aware of as of right now,
Yeah, and the robots, the solvers, have things figured out on a theoretical level. Yes. But there's still times in a poker player's life, in a poker player's career, when you do kind of have to go against that. And it's important for us to study these spots and to know that that's a min raise, but also maybe know that, once in a while you want to go against the solver. In this spot you got it in pretty bad, but the poker gods were looking out for you, I guess.
Yeah, it's just such a weird thing, and obviously, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing when it happens like that.
Yeah. Well, part of the reason why you are an ACR Poker Pro is that you have this kind of mindset, you have this positivity. Even the story that you shared last time here on the podcast about how you became a streamer with the intention of developing relationship with the website and everything. It just shows your tenacity and your optimism and your positivity. So we need more happy, upbeat, optimistic people in this game for sure.
Yep. Yeah. No. That's honestly I think that's the number one characteristic. When I was thinking the other night about this, actually, just in the last week, about all of my friends who have been playing poker and thriving playing poker for a living for the last decade plus. And I think that's the number one characteristic between all of them, is they're all ridiculously positive all the time, and expecting good things to come all the time. And when things are going bad, still remaining positive. And I think that's probably the most underrated part of being a top-notch player, because I've just had so many friends who played for a living for 5 years, went through a rough patch, and they just couldn't mentally handle it. They couldn't get back to being positive because of the negative results in the short and midterm. And now they're driving Uber or whatever job they're doing because they couldn't overcome that mental part of the game. That's just such an underappreciated part of the game, is the mental side of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's easy to stay happy and positive when you're making final tables and raking in the dough. The real test is if you see somebody and he's laughing with say you're in a live poker situation, you see somebody, he's laughing and he's buying drinks for the table and he's carrying on and having a great time, and you come to find out that same player is down several buy-ins. Like, that's the guy I'm scared of, because he's going to be able to play under any circumstances. All of us can stay happy and positive when we're winning. You really find out what you're made of when you're going through, like you described, a 2-week period that, the darkness was coming in, right? Because you just, sometimes it just feels like we can't even win a hand, much less a tournament.
Yeah. No, it's very true. It's very true. And it's, just even last week, I don't know what was up with me, man. I mean, I've always prided myself, and I am. I feel like I'm not a top 100 poker player in the world. I know that. There's so many amazing poker players out there. But I know that I'm top 100 poker mentalities in the world. I know that. And I had a mental lapse last week, and I guess maybe it's because I want to win this challenge so bad, and I know how important it is to run good during this challenge for the tournament side of things. And like I said, it was last Thursday, and it was just day number 8 in a row of can't even comprehend how I'm losing.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing, is it's you go play cash games and you get it in pre with aces, and it's no big deal because I'm gonna come back tomorrow and buy in for the same amount and do it again. There's no weight on that all-in compared to the other all-ins if you're grinding cash games and you're buying in for the same amount. But in tournaments, as you know, if you win an all-in pre-flop with aces on the first hand of the tournament, that doesn't matter 1/10 as much as winning the all-in pre-flop with aces on the final table bubble with 10 players left. And those were all of the all-ins that I was losing. And so I was tilted last week. I mean, I don't ever feel like I'm just on tilt, but like on Thursday when I played, I was like, wow, I'm just playing awful poker. I'm just max tilted today. I'm just seeing red. I'm seeing red, and I'm upset, and I'm not myself. And that's why another important thing in line with what I'm talking about now is it's important to take breaks.
Yeah. Even just that
2-day break that I took last week. If I wouldn't have taken that, and I would have been like, no, I'm just gonna push through. I don't think in fact, I know I would not have had the big score on Sunday because I needed that mental refresh. I needed to get the icky, yucky, gross feeling that we all have at times out of my system and just be like, okay, I'm playing great. I'm feeling amazing. I slept good the last couple days. I'm feeling fresh. I've been pumping myself up. I'm going to crush it today, and that's what happened. And I think it's because of the break.
Yeah. Well, look, you could have a top 100 mindset in the world of poker, but everybody has a breaking point. And it sounds like, 8 really rough days of playing all day and having things like that happen at crucial moments in so many of the tournaments you were playing in was your breaking point, and you needed to kind of take a step away from the game. Sounds like you got to go experience a really fun soccer tournament with your son, which is great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes just getting back to life and remembering that poker isn't everything. Like, we're all serious competitors, right? We all want to win. I never sit down at the table thinking I don't care if I win or not. Of course I want to win, but, you got to keep, I guess life in perspective as well. Now, I want to hear about this challenge, but before we do, I want to make sure all our listeners know that we have a free roll, the TPE free roll on ACR Poker this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will be the host of this free roll on twitch.tv/ClaytonComic. I might be asking some trivia questions, and you guys can get prizes and things like that. I'll give the password for the free roll away on my live stream at twitch.tv/ClaytonComic. And make sure that you remember that I was first brought on as the host of this podcast in 2018. So that might be some trivia for our listeners to keep in mind, that my first year was 5 years ago, 2018. I can't believe that it's been almost 5 years, almost to the day now, since I started hosting this amazing podcast, which was already very highly rated before I even took over. So anyway, if you're not yet on ACR Poker, you can click the link in the description of this podcast and become a member. You can get a first-time deposit bonus of 100% of your buy-in, all the way up to $2,000 by using the promo code TPE. So, Michael, what is this challenge? $100,000 challenge? What's going on? What's up?
Yeah, so the boss man, he's just the man, dude. Phil Nagy, ACR CEO. He shocked us all last December, 9 months ago now, and he said, hey, I'm going to do a challenge between all the team pros, and you guys are going to compete, and 2 of you are going to win $100,000 worth of buy-ins for the Triton High Roller Series. And I want this to be a culmination of Instagram, social media content, online tournament results for a month, and let's finish it off with a heads-up bracket between you guys. And he actually ended up doing top 3, and I took 4th by basically there had to be a perfect combination of things to happen at the end in the heads-up bracket for me not to go. And those all, it had to be Monica had to finish in the final 2, and I had to finish here, and that person had to finish there, and it all happened, and it was heartbreaking. But
yeah,
he came back after the challenge was done and said, "Yo, we're gonna continue to do this every 3 months for the next couple years, so buckle up." And it's a known thing in the ACR community. Every single ACR team pro will tell you, who is the pro that has had the run bad and has had the drive and work ethic and has just been unlucky to not get in. Every single person is going to say me, and I'm just using that as more motivation and drive to make it happen this time. So this challenge specifically, we have a 5 different categories that are giving us points. The first is there will be a panel of judges judging our 3 best social media posts and our 3 influences, and an influence counts as coming on to a podcast. So this podcast right here will be part of the social media side of things. So there's a panel of judges that will vote on that side. And then on the tournament side of things, we split it up into 2 sections. The first section is our 10 best ROIs over the course of the month from September 3rd to October 2nd on ACR. $8.80 and higher count towards the ROI. And it's just your 10 best ROIs added together. And we actually are counting live tournaments as well. It has to be a $200 buy-in or higher. And we've actually put a 5x boost on live tournaments because, live tournaments take super long and you can only play one a day. And so I'm doing pretty well. Going into Sunday, I think I was number 6 on ROI. And then I had that third place. And we capped the online ROIs at 100. So if you get a 200x, it just counts as 100.
Okay.
So I got my 100x on Sunday and the 215 200K for 25,000 for third. I followed that up on Monday, a couple days ago, with a third place and a $33 30K for 3,100 for like a 94x. That boosted me from 6th place on the ROI standings to now 3rd place, right behind Boski, trying to catch him now. And Ape Style's in the lead right now. No surprise there. And then the other side of tournaments for points is the OSS XL leaderboard. We actually split it into 2 on that side of things. There's a high stakes OSS XL leaderboard, which is $109 OSS events and higher. And then the medium stakes leaderboard, which is $10.50 buy-ins to $88 buy-ins. And these are OSS XL events only. And we get points based on how we do against the other ACR team pros on those 2 leaderboards. And then next week we begin the final part of the challenge, which is the ACR Team Pro Heads Up Tournament, where the farther you go in the Heads Up bracket, the more points you get. And then when the challenge is all done on October 2nd, all of the points are added up together, and the top 2 point earners will be in Monaco playing $100,000 worth of buy-ins against Phil Ivey and Antonius. And man, I'm really feeling like this is the one. I really do. I feel like I'm going to get in this one. So hopefully the poker gods and all the gods can allow me to get in this time.
Well, I'll tell you, Michael, I'm definitely rooting for you. I mean, look, I love a lot of the pros. I have relationships with a lot of the ACR poker pros, so I don't want to say you're the only one that I'm rooting for. But let's just say if you happen to win it, and that you making an appearance on this podcast helped you just a little bit, I'll feel pretty good about that. How about that?
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah. So do you have a hand for us? I know my listeners always want to hear me talk to, professional players like yourself. We like to hear maybe a specific hand that you played. Did you pick one out for me?
Yes. I actually am going to go way back. It's funny when you asked me the other day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go way back because I've always called myself the misclick master. I really am. Okay. I really am. I mean, nobody wins more money by misclicks than me. And I just randomly, this hand popped in my head. So this is a hand, you're going to laugh. This is a hand from 2004.
What? So almost 20 years ago?
2004. It's a silly hand, but it's a funny hand. It's a good little story. So I am playing 2-4 on Party Poker back in 2004 when Party Poker was in the U.S. And it was like the first week of moving up to the $400 buy-in level. And this is my senior year of high school. I deposited $25 online 2 months prior to this, and I was playing 2 tables of $25 buy-in, 6-handed no limit, so 10 cent, 25 cent. And I just played all day every day and kept working my way up through the levels, probably a little too fast even.
Yeah.
And this was like the first day moving up from 1-2 200 to 2-4 400. And I'm just playing one table on my laptop. This is like ultra high stakes for an 18-year-old. It felt so much higher at the time, and I'm under the gun and I hit the call button on accident, and I had 10-3 of diamonds. And I was like, oh shoot, okay, it's only $4, no big deal. Well, it goes call. So everyone's in for $4.
Oh, I miss Party Poker in 2004. Yeah, I do. I miss it so much.
So I limp in on accident, and we go 6 ways to a flop with $24 in the middle. Everyone has $400 or more on the table, and the flop is 10-10-3 rainbow. The flop is 10-10-3 rainbow, but this is the best part. The big blind just starts off with a pot-sized bet and bets $24. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, so I'm just gonna call.
Yeah.
And I call.
Yeah.
And the player to my left raises to $75. And it comes back to the big blind, and he moves all in for $600. And I have $500 in front of me. And I'm like, oh my god! I remember calling my dad over. Oh my god, look at this! I misclicked call. I end up going all in. Obviously, I end up using my time bank to try and lure the guy to my left in. I get it in. The guy on my left absolutely snap calls. The guy on my left has ace 10, and the big blind has pocket threes, who's drawing completely dead with the boat. And it comes 7 on turn, 8 on river, and I win a $1,500 pot. And that was the beginning of the misclick mastery that has never stopped. Somehow, some way, even recently, like there's just times where I accidentally call or accidentally limp in, and I end up winning the hand. It's funny now. It's funny, we were talking earlier about positive expectations and manifesting. Well, now whenever I misclick, I'm now expecting to win the hand one way or another, and I feel like I do most of the time, which is I don't know how, but again, maybe me believing, maybe me just putting out that energy of like, wow, I misclicked and I'm gonna win this hand now because that's what I do. Maybe that has something to do with the universal magic we were talking about, of like believing and manifesting. A bunch of my friends used to always call me the Peter Pan because I've always, even now, I feel like I'm just a little kid that believes in magic dust and magical things, and it's a real thing, man. It's definitely a real thing. That manifestation and belief, that's a real thing.
Yeah. So this is wild because first of all, it's like it's such a hopeless hand, to be under the gun with There's no book anywhere that's going to say that's a good play. And even 20 years ago, you knew that's not the right way to play that hand. Of course, it's a fold. But then just the way things went around from there. But I want to hear another one because you said that you have one that's more recent than 20 years ago. Like that's a pretty incredible thing that happened in that hand, especially considering what your bankroll probably was back then, all those years ago. But what about becoming a misclick master? Like there has to be more than just one instance of this going your way.
Yeah, so I had the other hand that really pops to my head when it comes to this type of situation is oh man, this is such a silly one. There was a hand about 6 months ago, and there was a raise and a 3-bet at my table, and it's like deep in the tournament, like late reg close, getting close to the money, and there was a raise to 2 and a 3-bet to 7, and I had about 50 big blinds, and I'm on the button with Jack 3 offsuit, and somehow, some way, it's crazy when these things happen because I don't, I'm looking at the screen, I'm going to click the fold button, and somehow I click the call button, and I'm like, oh my god. Like it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's very tilting when you're just gonna dust off 7 big blinds.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Matter, and again, this is crazy. Jack 3 offsuit, the razor folds, and the flop comes 3-3-9 rainbow. And this wasn't a small tournament. This was like a $55 100K where first place is like $20,000.
Right.
And long story short, the pre-flop 3-better bets small, and I call, and bets half pot on the turn. I call, and he shoves river. He has aces, and I stack him, and I end up, I was really close to chip lead after that hand, and ended up making a final table run off of that misclick again. It's just it's crazy. It's wild. It's not like I misclick all the time and just win all the time. It's like I misclick very not often at all, and the percentage of the time that I win is just off the charts. It's stupid, honestly.
It is stupid. Now, from a strategy standpoint, there's not really much to gather from this, but what I would say for you, Michael, and for everyone really listening, is that whenever you're going through a period when you feel like your luck is so bad and you never get lucky and only bad things happen to you and your opponents catch whatever miracle card they need on every river and you'll never cash in a tournament again, and we all have these thoughts from time to time, let's be honest, just try to remember all those times when you misclicked and got lucky and stacked like 2 or 3 people.
No, selective memory is such an amazing thing when it comes to poker players. It really is. Like, I have students that I coach, and they'll send me all these hands in a row and of all the bad beats, and I'll get on a session with them and watch them play, and they're just talking about the bad beats. I'm like, did you not remember the pocket twos that you got in preflop against aces and hit the 2? Do you not remember the king jack offsuit that you got in preflop against king queen, hit the jack? Like, it's a funny thing, selective memory, especially with poker players, and we all remember the bad beats. But more importantly, a life lesson that you just talked about that's so important for everyone listening here to implement into your life is to always be positive in every little aspect of your life. And this goes all the way down into the little cracks of just the thoughts in your head, the little comments you make out loud to friends, comments or anything you say out loud. If it's a negative comment, just don't even say it. Don't even say it out loud. I mean, obviously you're gonna say negative things. You're gonna talk a little shit about that person, whether it's serious or a joke. Or,
yeah.
That's life. But I think it's just so important to expect positive things. And just what you said right there, like, oh, I always lose, always wrong. That's the number one thing I think that every poker player says. Every poker player believes that they are the most unlucky player of all time.
Yeah. So
now when you really start to repeat what I just said, every poker player thinks that they are the most unlucky player of all time.
It can't be true. It can't.
So why is this? Why does every poker player in the world think that they're why does 99% of poker players think that they're so unlucky? Because of our selective memory. Because we're not as unlucky as we think. Because we expect to lose all the time. And I think that's just such an underrated part of life is, people, I stream on Twitch. People all the time say, oh man, I always lose with jacks. Really? You know what I say to that? I feel like I always win with jacks. People in my chat or at the casino, I always lose with ace king. You know what I say to that? And I mean it. I'm not just saying it. I feel like I almost always win with ace king. And so right there, that's the first step. So not only turning your luck around, if you want to call it that, and getting positive results, but just in life. Like if you catch yourself, complaining about this, saying a negative thing about that, try and be ultra aware of your thoughts and your comments. And if you catch yourself saying a couple of negative things in a row, even if it's a joke, try and tell yourself, hey, I need to cut this bullshit out and start only thinking and saying positive things, because positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. If you, like this past Sunday, I believed in my heart and soul, Peter Pan style, that I was going to have a big win on Sunday. And look what happened. And I guarantee if I had made all the same moves and all the same GTO plays, but I had that negative, bad expectation mindset of, God, I'm just going to lose again today, I probably wouldn't have had that big win. Being positive all the time in your overall life will trickle over into your poker game. It'll make you a happier person. It'll make you win more hands. It'll probably make you make better decisions as well. But yeah, obviously the moral of the story, everyone, if you're listening here, try and be ultra aware, ultra extra conscious moving forward here over the next number of days, and then continue this of thinking positive things, saying positive things. And anytime you catch yourself in a little streak of negative, say, okay, I need to knock this off. It's time to be positive now. It's such an underrated part of life. I mean, if you expect positive things and you say positive things and you think positive things will happen. And same goes for the other side. So it's a really important thing to talk about.
Yeah, it is. And it has a lot to do with poker, but also, like you say, with life in general. I always tell people, be careful what you say about yourself to yourself. A pretty simple example is something that almost everyone I know says about himself or herself is, I'm so bad with names. I always forget everybody's name. I'm bad with names, right? People say that all the time. Well, as soon as you say that, especially aloud, but even if you just say it in your own mind, your brain is like, oh, okay, so I'm bad at that. And then that kind of reaffirms to your brain that you're not good at that, so why put energy into it? And then you just get worse at remembering people's names. So there's a difference between just a negative mindset or a positive mindset or a growth mindset that would say, what if you just if the same person who's always been bad at that would just start saying, I'm getting better at remembering people's names. I'm learning ways to become better at remembering people's names. Just talking about yourself to yourself in that way can have a major impact. I'm not sure if I'm as convinced as you are about the magical impact on the cards themselves, but it can't hurt to show up with a positive mindset. If nothing else, then when things don't go your way, you'll already be halfway back to recovery just because you started in such a high place to begin with. And I'm going to be putting in a lot more volume myself in the coming days, so I'm going to try to practice what you preach, and I'll report back how it goes for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I think something that I don't even do enough anymore because everything's so second nature now, but this is a great thing to talk about because I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to get on and play as soon as we hang up here and get on the grind today, and I'm going to sit here. I used to do this a lot when I was younger, and I need to do it more. I'm going to sit here in my office with everything, my phone turned off, no audio, no music, no nothing, and I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm just going to envision myself winning. I'm going to expect to win every flip. I'm going to imagine in my head the visual of an ACR table and the chips coming my way, and I'm expecting to win every flip, and I'm expecting positive things. And that's such an important thing to do before you get on and play, because that's why I knew I needed a break last week, because I was getting it in as a pre-flop favorite with ace king versus ace queen, and I was like, oh, here comes the queen. I already know it's gonna come. And I'm like, whoa, that's not me. I know how bad of a mindset I'm in right now, and I know how much this is going to impact not only my decision making, but I really do believe it's going to impact the results in some kind of way. I believe there's some kind of universal power with this. So it's just, and then obviously I took a couple days off, got my mind right, and I was back Sunday to what I normally do of just expecting to win. And it's such an important, and again, this is such a transferable skill, if you will, for your entire life, not just poker, but just expecting positive things, envisioning positive things, manifesting things that you want, and it will definitely help those things come to fruition.
Well, Michael, I hope you can manifest your way to a victory in this $100,000 challenge and end up in Monaco with all the money. How's that sound?
Oh, man. Sounds amazing. I've always wanted to go to Monaco. It's definitely like a top 5 worldwide destination. I've always heard stories about it and seen videos of it, and it just seems amazing. And I've been working my butt off, working my ass off, and hopefully I can manifest this and get in this time.
Well, wish you luck. Before we go, anything else you want people to know, like where they can find you, or if they're interested in coaching, or anything else at all, Michael?
Yeah, so I'm doing constant Instagram story updates on, 90% poker all-ins and poker hands that I'm playing online throughout the day. And then just little quick little journals and videos of how I'm feeling and this and that. You can find me on Instagram, Michael_Loncar. That's Loncar. And it's funny. It's actually funny you mentioned coaching, because I just had my best friend over yesterday and was talking with him, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing in October when this challenge is done. I have a long list of people that want to do coaching sessions with me, and they want to do, hand histories of their recent tournament runs and have me dissect everything. And I'm going to open up for the first time. It's going to be really fun for me, actually. I'm going to open up coaching to everyone for the first time in a long, long time, with one stipulation. Our coaching session is going to be streamed on my Twitch channel. I've never done a subscriber-only stream. I've never done that in my life. I'm going to do these as subscriber-only streams. Only my subscribers to my Twitch channel can view. So it'll be more of a smaller crowd, smaller group type of thing, more of a private thing. And I'm just going to offer that to anyone that wants to do that. So, coaching sessions with me on stream for a smaller audience, create some, definitely have an ability to create some content out of these coaching sessions on top of improving people's games. So yeah, if any of you out there want to partake in that, send me a message on Instagram, and I'm going to get those going the first week of October. I'm looking forward to those, actually.
And that Instagram, once again, is at Michael_Loncar, Loncar. Michael,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much for coming back on the program.
It's always a pleasure being on here with you, and keep up the great work. And I know I'll probably see you at an ACR table really soon.
You sure will. And so for Michael Loncar and for everyone here at Tournament Poker Edge, with special thanks as always to our generous sponsor, ACR Poker, I'm Clayton Fletcher. Thank you so much for listening.
I wanna hold them like they do in Texas plays. Fold them, let them hit me, raise it, baby, stay with me. Luck and intuition, play the cards with babes to start. And after she's been hooked, I'll play the one that's on her heart. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll get her heart, show her what I got. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll get her heart, show her what I got. Carry by, though she can't read a mile. Hold the face, she's got to love nobody. Carry by, though she can't read a mile. Hold the face, she's got to love nobody. Poker face, poker face. Poker face, poker face. I wanna roll with her, a hard pair we will be. While little gambling is fun when you're with me. I love it. Russian roulette is not the same without a gun. And baby, when it's love, it's not